What a commotion. What goings on
Frank
here?
Morgan.
Meredith, are all your musicians savages?
Why, what's the matter, Frankie?
Well, that bassoon player of yours, I believe he's the bassoon player. Ugly fellow with no forehead and very high eyebrows.
That might be any of the boys. It sounds like my bassoon player, all right.
Yes, well, he's a very... He's a very primitive fellow. A few minutes ago, he caught, or he thought he caught, some unfortunate chap exchanging confidences with his attractive wife. And he chased the poor man up 5 flights of stairs to the roof.
Good heavens, Frank, how did you get down?
Well, I ducked into the side... Now, listen here. Young, none of your innuendos. I'm getting pretty sick of you fellas running down my character.
Excuse me, Frank. There's a newspaper man outside wants to see you. He's been buzzing around for the past 15 minutes.
What paper is he from?
The Los Angeles Bee.
Yes, I suppose someone told you. That was a honey. Well, you'd better stick to your coffee, my merchandising friend. Ask the gentleman to wait.
Yes?
Well, the press is beginning to fawn on me, Bob. I thought they'd soon be coming to heel.
Yes, but I'm surprised you admit it.
A cheap quip from a melodious stable boy. I fancy you're a mad success with your fellow grooms.
Get back to the main subject, Wackadola.
Well, I was remarking on the paucity of newspaper space my campaign's been receiving. Unusual for the gentleman of the press to let down a colleague.
A colleague?
Yes.
Have you got the audacity to stand here and try to tell me you've been a newspaper man, Mr. Morgan?
Front page Frankie with the Floy. 2-column Morgan, they called me in the old days, Bob. Who covered the Chicago fire like a blanket? Morgan. Who covered the Johnstown flood like an umbrella? Morgan. Who writes this horrible material? Morgan. It's a lie!
Listen, Want-Ad, get off the front page a minute. I want to make a bet with you.
A bet?
You heard me. I've got $5 that says you were never on a newspaper in your life.
Oh, that's like taking candy from an urchin. Put up the money and I'll hold it.
Well, I'll hold my half. Now start talking.
Well, when I
Wait
was...
a minute.
What?
Before you start, you might like to know I've been a reporter myself. And I've worked on darn near every paper in the country.
Well, that is... you have to... I'd better see the man from the Bee. He probably wants an interview.
No. Come here, you thief. What about your newspaper career?
Newspaper career. Yes, well, tell me, Bob, did you ever work on the old New York World in the days of its prime?
Yes, sir.
You did?
Yeah.
That was a fine paper. Well, you should have worked on the old Louisville Courier in the days of...
Mars Henry Watterson? I was there.
What's that? Watterson, you was there. Well, the time... Bob, did you ever work on the old New York Herald under James Gordon Bennett?
No.
Oh, there was a paper. If he worked on that one, he's a bigger liar than I am.
Well, I'll check on that later. Was that your first job, Frank, with the Herald?
No, I started in the Midwest as a lowly cub, salary a paltry $250 a week.
Oh, now, wait a minute. Who ever heard of a cub getting $250 a week?
Well, I was one of the Chicago Cubs. Then I went to work for James Gordon Bennett, and I knew I was headed for the heights. Sure enough, my opportunity soon came.
I suppose he sent you to Africa to find Livingston.
No, Jack Benny found her, doing all right, too.
Why, you ignorant tramp, the rescue of Dr. Livingston was the greatest newspaper exploit of the century.
A piddling piece of picayunish publicity.
So sit up.
How do you like that? Tongue twisters, and I don't see the stuff till I go on.
Keep talking, Crumbola.
Well, I'll tell you a story of journalistic enterprise that will chill the blood of any man that ever peeped through a keyhole. And I do mean you. By the way, young, who wears your clean shirt? Where was I?
In my laundry bag.
Oh, yes. Well, this is the story that made me famous.
Oh, I suppose you won the Pulitzer Prize with it.
Just the first 2 letters.
P-U... well, go ahead.
It was Christmas in the Herald office. All the reporters had gone home but me. I was sitting quietly at my desk reading the life of Horace Greeley, when suddenly the phone rang. I was instantly galvanized into action. I said, hello?
Hello?
Who's this?
Bob Young.
Get off the wire. A voice at the other end informed me that the madcap daughter of New York's richest and most powerful banker had eloped with a garbage man.
What a story.
Yes. I dashed out to the banker's mansion, hastily disguised myself as a butcher, and was admitted at the tradesman's entrance.
Well, how'd you work the butcher disguise, Frank?
I pulled out my shirt tails, grabbed a lamb chop from the watchdog, and borrowed a straw hat from a passerby.
A straw hat. Christmas Day?
The man was an eccentric. Once I was in the kitchen, I bribed the scullery maid for a picture of the heiress, and with 5 minutes of shrewd investigation, I ascertained that she had indeed eloped, disguised in her father's clothes.
Any other reporters around?
No, Bob, it was a clean scoop. I tore back to my office, composing a terrific caption for the picture on my way.
What was the caption?
Fleas in father's pants. Well, sir, when I got back, what do you think I found?
What?
No printers.
No printers?
They'd all gone home. It was time for quick decision. And I knew Bennett would promote me for it. I dashed to the composing room, wrote my story in type, and set a headline over it in 88-point Gothic, upper and lower case.
What size cap?
6 and 7/8.
Can I say you a derby?
Never wear.
Thank you.
Not at all. Well, I ripped out a dull war story from the front page, replaced it with my scoop, and started the presses rolling. The sweat poured from my face as I ripped the finished copies from the press, 1,000 at a time.
Single-handed?
Yes, sir. And not only that, but I folded them, bundled them, wired them, dumped them, and sold 1 million copies myself before 2 a.m. Watch me! Watch me! What do you read there?
Frank, I don't believe a word of that.
Why not?
Why, because if it's true, that story would have made you the biggest man in the newspaper business.
It almost did, Bob. I had that whole elopement story cold, except for a couple of trifling inaccuracies.
Oh, namely?
Well, in the first place, it wasn't a garbage man. It was the girl's uncle. And it wasn't her father's clothes. It was her mother's. And they weren't eloping. They were going to a masquerade.
Was it a girl?
No, it was her brother. The bank has sued for $10 million and collected. You can send me the $5, Bob. I've got to go out and see the man from the Bee.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Well, Ted, the time has come again for that friendly moment of relaxation.
Yes, sir, you're right, Bob. It's time for our old custom. A moment of relaxation with a steaming, fragrant cup of the new Maxwell House coffee. So we're inviting all of our friends everywhere to join us in a delicious cup of this coffee that buoys you up and never lets you down. And with the new Maxwell House, you'll find that cup of coffee more delicious than ever. You'll notice a smoothness and mellowness that'll satisfy you, we believe, beyond any coffee you've ever tasted before.
All right, Meredith, if you'll pour the music, we'll pour the coffee.
We now pause briefly for station identification.
KFI, Los Angeles.